Hey gardeners, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'll be covering if garden straw is really worth it. Now, when it comes down to gardening, one of the things you come to realize is about mulching. Now, there's different types of materials that are used for mulching. Some of the most common materials out there is dyed wood chips, natural wood chips, garden straw, and I've also even have seen rubber used as a mulch. Needless to say, all of these are materials that are used in its own particular way, whether it be landscaping to make your garden look more appeasing to the eye, or in my case, since I do lots of organic gardening, we stick to the natural stuff like wood chips or garden straw. One of the biggest things that gardeners have faced when it comes down to using straw in their garden has been that lots of times some companies sell garden straw and it has seeds in it. So when they place it in their gardens, they will have double the amount of weeds growing. And the whole point of a mulch is to suppress weed as well as to maintain moisture in your garden. So I'll be using this into practice in my Birdie's raised bed garden right here. I've absolutely loved this product right here. All the products I'll be featuring in my video today will have a link in the description box below. Make sure to go check them out and go use my discount code, the Ultimate Gardener 5, for a 5% discount on your entire order. Needless to say, I've personally used garden straw and I have loved it. So now let me go ahead and cover why is it worth it. So I'll be planting blue turmeric and orange turmeric in this raised bed, for then I could use the mulch or the garden straw on top of it. So something that I realize is when it comes down to root crops, we have to grow them in a raised bed because they're in a controlled environment. So we're able to dictate the soil that they're growing in, the nutrients they receive, the sunlight they receive, and how much water they receive. I even have a volunteer Jerusalem artichoke growing in here. It seems to be from a piece that I have left over from the time I harvested them. So let me go ahead and through and plant these. So quick little care guide behind blue turmeric is that it's a full sun loving plant, or it could be planted in partial sun as well, preferably full sun. It needs to be planted in well draining soil that retains a little bit of moisture. It also has to be well fed. Since it's a root crop, it requires supplemental nutrients, so it has a biostarter fertilizer mixed into it. And finally, is their watering. They do not like to dry out, but they do not like to be overwatered. So since we're in Florida, I never water by hand as I let the natural rainstorms water them. However, if you grow them in a very dry climate, what I'd recommend is watering them from 2 to 3 times per week. So now that that is set, a few facts about garden straw is one, it's an organic material. So it is way better than using dyed wood chips, which is not organic as they are processed chemically to get those colors. So if you see black mulch or red mulch or yellow mulch, those are dyed products. So if you put that in your garden is no longer considered an organic garden as you're using chemically processed materials. However, garden straw is not, which is full organic and great for raised bed gardening. Another way you use it is to suppress weeds. So when it comes down to gardening, something I hate doing is weeding. Especially here in Florida, you weed, you'll see weeds the next following day. So any type of way I could find to suppress these weeds are always amazing. Now, something I do see is garden straw being used in a more smaller setting. I would not recommend using this in a bigger setting, like putting your entire garden in garden straw. Can you do it? Yes. Do I recommend it? Most likely not, because garden straw tends to run a little bit more pricey than regular mulch. In that case, for a larger scale, I'd recommend using all natural wood chips, which you can see if your local arborist could dump a truck in your house, which is totally free and absolutely amazing and organic, which I have done in the past. It's a great soil mender, so you'll see your soil change from that gray sandy substance to a rich dark soil. And another way mulch is used, in this case garden straw, is to maintain moisture in the soil. If you deal with high levels of heat and drought, this is definitely something you want to use, as this limits the amount of times you water. Since there'll be a good layer over the soil, when you water it, it will stay saturated and it won't allow it to evaporate so easily. So let me go ahead and apply this. So when it comes down to applying garden straw, it's really important that you put a good layer down, because if you put a very thin layer of garden straw down, it will blow away in the wind and it will have zero effects. So you won't be able to properly suppress weeds, and it won't maintain moisture in your soil. So make sure you put a good dense or thick layer of it down, so then it can go ahead and have those good benefits come to play. And also a good side note is that since I'm growing turmeric, it will grow lots of these offshoots. So don't worry if it will suppress the offshoots from growing up. It is dense enough to maintain moisture in the soil, but it is light enough for shoots to come up. So don't worry about that. So I went through and I mulched my entire raised bed. And so a few things you should keep in mind is after applying the garden straw, you want to make sure you water your raised bed in very well. In my case, since I just planted the blue turmeric, of course I'm going to go through and water my garden or my raised bed. However, it's just a rule that you must water it so then it could kind of settle in place. And since we deal with a lot of thunderstorms here in Florida, I don't have that big of an issue or that big of a concern that this will blow away, because the water will maintain the garden straw in the raised bed. However, if you deal with windstorms, I would recommend only applying garden straw in areas that are protected. So in a corner where there is lots of trees, or in a corner or in a spot in your garden that's protected by harsh winds, that's where I would recommend you placing a raised bed with garden straw. Because if you don't, that's I probably see one of the smallest downfalls, is that it will blow away if you have a very harsh storm come through. However, just make it a habit to go through and water your garden when necessary, because garden straw, when it's wet, it becomes heavier, so it won't blow away in the wind. However, I've never dealt with garden straw blowing away and scattering around the garden, so I wouldn't worry so much about it. Just make sure you water it in well, and then make sure you have that set watering schedule with it. So I actually got my garden straw from Epic Gardening. So once again, all the links you'll need will be in the description box below. I'd recommend you going to get some, because this is not only beneficial for you as a gardener in general, so you don't have to be plucking weeds and watering every day. And for your plants, it will allow them to stay hydrated. And since over time it will decompose, it will allow to feed your plants and make sure that your soil is a good quality. Make sure to leave a like down below underneath this video. Comment down below what you thought on this video and any other videos you'd like to see. And make sure to subscribe to the channel if you aren't already. We're close to 7,000 subscribers, and as promised, once we hit it, I'll host a giveaway for you all. Thank you all so much for watching this video. May God bless you and your entire family, and never forget to grow big, Ultimate Gardeners. Bye, everyone.